Hello dear students. So you all know that your theory classes have been completed by now, and now we are taking your practical classes, and keeping in view that today we are going to discuss something regarding a fetal skull. This is what is in my hand, a fetal skull. Now this fetal skull, when you describe a fetal skull, there are things that you need to know while describing a fetal skull. It's a very important thing for your practicals which you will be asked. Whenever you describe the fetal skull, you divide it into three portions. Okay? Yes, you divide it into three areas. The first known as the vault, the second area is known as the face, and the third area is known as the base of the skull. Right? So the vault is the area that is present between the orbital ridges and the nape of the neck, the area where neck would start. So this area is known as vault. The second is the face. This is the area that is present between the orbital ridges and the mentum. This mentum is also known as chin. So the area between the orbital ridges and the mentum or the chin is known as the face. And then again the area between the chin, that is the mentum, and the area where the neck would start, the nape of the neck, is known as the base. It is formed by one fused bone, right? So three areas of fetal skull: the vault, from the orbital ridges to the nape of the neck, this area; the face, from the orbital ridges to the chin or the mentum; and the base of the skull, from the mentum up to the nape of the neck. Now you can see there is a foramen in the nape of the neck. This is known as the foramen magnum, and this is the foramen through which the spinal cord comes out after its attachment from the brain, right? So this is the foramen magnum. This base of skull is formed by one fused bone, right? So first of all, let us talk about the vault, the fetal vault of the fetal skull. Now this vault of the fetal skull is formed by various bones. This area is little pliable as compared to the other area, the face and the base, because it is made up of bones which are not fused permanently. These bones are brought together by membranous structures forming sutures, right? So let us talk about the bones of the vault. The vault is made up of bones. What bones? Two frontal bones, right? These two are the frontal bones. Two parietal bones. These two are the parietal bones. And the occipital bone and the two temporal bones, right? So two frontal bones, two parietal bones, two temporal bones, and one occipital bone is what forms the vault of the fetal skull. Now, of importance are some facts like these areas. These are known as frontal eminence, right? These protuberant areas. These areas on the parietal bone that are prominent are known as the parietal eminence, right? This area on the occiput that is prominent is known as the occipital eminence, and this area below is the subocciput where the nape of the neck would start. Right. So now you know about the vault, area between the the orbital ridges and the nape of the neck, right? And the bones, the frontal bone, the parietal bone, the temporal bone, and the occipital bone. Now another important thing that you need to know is regarding the sutures, right? So these are the sutures. The area where two or three bones they meet, the area where these bones meet, they are joined by membranous structures known as sutures, right? So what are the sutures that are found on the vault of the fetal skull? The suture that is present between two frontal bones is known as the frontal suture. So this is the frontal suture. The suture that is formed between the frontal and the parietal bone is known as the coronal suture. So this suture, that is a C-shaped suture between the frontal and the parietal bone, is known as the coronal suture. Then the suture that is present between two parietal bones is known as the sagittal suture. So this is the sagittal suture. Then the suture present between the parietal and the occipital bone, this and this, is known as the lambdoid suture, right? And the suture present between the parietal and the temporal bone is known as the temporal suture. So you now know the bones: two frontal bones, two parietal bones, two temporal bones, one occipital bone, and you know the sutures: the frontal suture, the coronal suture, the sagittal suture, the lambdoid suture, and the temporal suture, right? So what is the importance of these sutures? They are important both clinically. Why? Firstly, these sutures, they are, I told you, they are not permanently fused. They are formed by little membranous structure. So what happens is that these bones can slightly override each other. That means that when this fetal head passes through the birth canal, this bone can slightly override this bone can slightly override this bone. So this will compress the fetal skull. It will decrease its diameter so that it can easily pass through the birth canal while delivery. So this is the importance of the suture. Second importance is that when clinically we do a per vaginal examination, for example, we are doing a PV examination, so we'll be able to feel this suture, the sagittal suture. So we'll come to know about the rotation, internal rotation of the head. So if this suture, you're doing a PV examination and you're able to feel this suture in AP, so this means the head is in AP and it is rotated in anteroposterior direction and it is well rotated. If this is present in transverse, you are feeling and you see, okay, it is in transverse, so the head is in transverse position. And if it is like this, then you would know that the head is in oblique position. So this is the importance about the suture. So after coming to the sutures, let us talk about the fontanelles. Like the sutures, there are 6 fontanelles again in the fetal skull. The first fontanelle is the anterior fontanelle. It is a diamond shaped cavity, right? The second fontanelle is the posterior fontanelle. It is a triangular shaped cavity. The third fontanelles are the sphenoidal fontanelles present right here. And then you have the mastoid fontanelles that are present right here. Now this sphenoid and mastoid fontanelles do not have any clinical importance. So the major fontanelles, otherwise there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Anterior fontanelle, posterior fontanelle, sphenoidal fontanelle, mastoid fontanelles. But of clinical importance are 2 fontanelles, the anterior fontanelle and the posterior fontanelle. The anterior fontanelle is also known as bregma, right? And the posterior fontanelle is known as lambda, right? The anterior fontanelle is diamond shaped and it is formed by 2 frontal bones and 2 parietal bones, right? Anteriorly it has the frontal suture and posteriorly it has the sagittal suture, and on sides it has the coronal suture. Similarly, posteriorly we have the posterior fontanelle or the lambda fontanelle, and it is anteriorly bound by the the sagittal suture and on sides by the lambdoid suture. It is a triangular area. Now this anterior fontanelle, it gets fused or it gets closed, this membranous structure. Fontanelle is basically a membranous structure. So whenever you have a newborn baby, you must have seen if you touch this area, it will be membranous as compared to other areas. So this area will fuse, it will fuse and become ossified at 1.5 years of age, that is at 18 months of age. And this fontanelle, it becomes fused at term, like at 9 months this area would fuse. So what is the importance of the fontanelle? It helps in growing of the fetal brain, when the baby will be born. So this area will help in all the, the growth of the brain, and up to 1.5 years, this will keep growing and then this will fuse. So now you know about the sutures and you know about the fontanelles. After this, what is of importance? I told you the major areas, the frontal eminence, parietal eminence, occipital eminence, right? And then I told you about the the area that is present between the orbital ridges and the coronal suture is known as the sinciput, right? And the area that is present at the root of the nose is known as the glabella, right? And this I already told you is bregma. This I told you is known as mentum. The area that is present at the root of the mouth, where the nape of the neck starts, is known as the submentum. And similarly, this is the occipital eminence and this is the suboccipital area where the nape of the neck would start. So now we come to the diameters of the fetal skull. Most important topic that would be asked to you are the diameters. So what are the diameters of the fetal skull? Now fetal skull, basically they have 2 types of diameters. First is the AP diameter or the anteroposterior diameter, right? And the second is the transverse diameter. So what are these diameters? Why are they important? Because we need to know when you read, normal labor. So you will be knowing that what diameter engagement would occur in what diameter, and whether the fetal skull will be able to pass through or not. So it is important to know about the various diameters. So if we talk about the diameters, we'll come to the AP diameters, or the antero-posterior diameters first. Now if we talk about the antero-posterior diameters, remember that there are 3 diameters for vertex presentation, right? There is 1 diameter for brow presentation, and there are 2 AP diameters for face presentation. So what? 3 diameters for vertex presentation, 1 diameter for brow presentation, and 2 diameters for face presentation. So if I keep my fingers, you may remember 3 diameters for vertex presentation, right? 1 diameter for brow presentation, and 2 diameters for face presentation. So right, if we start for the first diameter, the first diameter that you need to know is the suboccipitobregmatic diameter. Suboccipito. So what did I tell you? This is the occipital eminence. So sub means below, usse niche. So suboccipito, and what did I tell you? Bregma is anterior fontanelle is known as bregma. So the central point of bregma. So suboccipitobregmatic diameter. This is just below the occipital eminence and right in the middle of the bregma. So suboccipitobregmatic diameter, it is 9.5 centimeters, and it is present right from the nape of the neck up to the center of bregma, and it is seen in which presentation? In vertex presentation, where the head is completely flexed. So when the head is completely flexed, you will get this diameter, suboccipitobregmatic diameter, vertex presentation, and completely flexed head. So second vertex presentation diameter, AP diameter, that you need to know is suboccipitofrontal diameter. So again, suboccipito is the same, where the nape of neck would start, and frontal is the midpoint of the sinciput. I told you the area between the orbital ridges and the coronal suture is known as the sinciput. So middle of the sinciput, the frontal. So again the same, suboccipitofrontal. This is again an area of vertex presentation, and it will be seen in slightly deflexed head, that is with incomplete flexion. Incomplete flexion, that is slight deflection, you will find this diameter, that is suboccipitofrontal, and this diameter will be 10 centimeters. Again AP diameter, vertex presentation, slight deflection. The third diameter for vertex presentation is occipitofrontal diameter. Abhi tak we were just talking about suboccipitobregmatic, suboccipitofrontal. Now we have come to occipitofrontal diameter. So occipitofrontal diameter is occiput, the occipital eminence, and the frontal is again here, the root of the nose, that is the glabella here. So suboccipital, and the third is now occipital. So occipital frontal diameter. So this occipitofrontal diameter is 11.5 centimeters, and it will be again seen in vertex presentation, and it will be seen in marked deflection. So I told you 3 diameters for vertex: suboccipitobregmatic, vertex presentation, complete flexion; suboccipitofrontal, vertex presentation, incomplete flexion or slight deflection; and occipitofrontal, again vertex presentation and marked deflection. So we finished 3 diameters of vertex. Now we come to next diameter, that is AP diameter, and this diameter will be seen in brow presentation. So what is this diameter? It is mento-vertical. This area we have finished. So let us start now this area. AP diameter, mento-vertical. Mentum, what did I tell you? It is the chin. So it is the midpoint of the chin right up to the highest point on the sagittal suture. This is the sagittal suture. This is the highest point. So mento vertical diameter, and this diameter is the longest diameter. It is 14 centimeters long, and this is seen in brow presentation with partial extension. So we had first complete flexion, then we had slight deflection, then we had marked deflection. Now we have partial extension. So in partial extension, what diameter will you find? Mento vertical, midpoint of the mentum to the highest point on the sagittal suture, 14 centimeter, brow presentation and in partial extension. The next diameter is submento vertical diameter. First you had mento vertical. Now submento. Submento means just below. That is the root of the mouth where the nape of the neck would start. Right from there up to the highest point on the sagittal suture. So this is again 11.5 centimeters. It will be seen in incomplete extension, right? And in this the presentation will be face. Now you will have a face presentation. So you are having now submento, vertical diameter, root of the mouth to the highest point on the sagittal suture, 11.5 centimeters. Okay, and it will be seen in an incomplete extension and face presentation. And the last diameter that you need to know is submento bregmatic. Again the same, submento means root of the mouth where the nape of the neck would start, and bregmatic is the anterior fontanelle. So submento bregmatic diameter, again 9.5 centimeters, and it will be seen in complete extension, and this will be our face presentation. So I hope the anterior, posterior or the AP diameters are clear by now, right? So what did I tell you? Vertex 3, brow 1, face 2. Vertex में suboccipito-bregmatic, suboccipito-frontal and occipito-frontal. So all three vertex presentation, complete flexion, slight deflection, and third one is marked deflection. Then one for brow, that is mento vertical, midpoint of mentum to the highest point on the sagittal suture, 14 centimeters, and in this you will see brow presentation. And what will there be? There will be partial extension. ठीक है, now the head is extended. यहाँ गर्दन है ना, पहले complete flexion था, slight deflection हो गया और deflection हो गया. Now there is partial extension. अब ये extend कर रहा है head. And now for the face presentation, the ones which I told you was submento vertical, root of the mouth to highest point of this. Again it will be seen in face presentation and incomplete extension, and then submento bregmatic, incomplete extension, root of the mouth up to bregma, that is 9.5 centimeters. So these are the AP diameters, and these are the degree of attitude of the head in which these diameters would be seen, and also the presentation in which these diameters would be seen. Now after talking about the AP diameter, very quickly we'll be going through the transverse diameters of the fetal skull, the transverse diameters, right? So the first transverse diameter that we'll be talking about is the biparietal diameter. What is the biparietal? I told you this is the parietal eminence on the parietal bone. So the distance between these two eminences is known as the biparietal diameter, and this biparietal diameter is 9.5 centimeters, right? And this is the largest diameter or largest of the transverse diameters, and it is this diameter when it passes the pelvic brim we say that engagement has occurred, right? So this is the biparietal diameter. The next diameter is more of a theoretical importance. This is known as the super subparietal. Super का मतलब ऊपर, सब का मतलब नीचे. तो एक साइड it is ऊपर the parietal eminence, एक साइड it is below the parietal eminence. So super subparietal. So one side it will be slightly above the parietal eminence and the other side slightly below the parietal eminence, and this diameter is 8.5 centimeters, right? The third diameter that you need to know is the bitemporal diameter. Now this bitemporal diameter is seen at the inferior end of the coronal suture. So this area, so this diameter is known as the bitemporal diameter, and it is 8 centimeters. And the last diameter is the bimastoid diameter. This is formed between the two mastoid processes. It is the most incompressible diameter, and it is 7.5 centimeters. So these are the transverse diameters that you should know of. What? The biparietal diameter, that is 9.5, the longest transverse diameter, then super subparietal diameter, right? Then the this diameter, temporal diameter, and the bimastoid diameter. So these are the transverse diameters that you need to know of. Why are these diameters important? Because when we talk about labor, with different presentations, we'll know that the fetal head is engaging in which anterior, posterior, and transverse diameter. So whenever you explain labor, for example, occipito anterior or posterior or whatever, you have to say that the fetal head is engaging in this AP diameter and in this transverse diameter. That is why it is very important to know the diameters. I think I've covered all important points. If I just go through very quickly, I'll tell you again, the fetal skull has a vault, it has a face, it has a base, right? There are two frontal bones, parietal bones, temporal bones, and occipital bone. Then there is an anterior fontanelle, posterior fontanelle, few other fontanelles of not of clinical importance. Then there are sutures, frontal suture, coronal suture, sagittal suture, lambdoid suture, temporal sutures. Then there are our AP diameters, 3 AP diameters for vertex, 1 for brow, 2 for face. And very quickly again, these are the suboccipitobregmatic, suboccipitofrontal, and occipitofrontal, depending upon the degree of flexion, complete flexion, slight deflection, and marked deflection. Then you have 1 for brow, that is the mento-vertical from here up to this area. In this will be our brow presentation, longest diameter 14 centimeters, and here we'll have our partial extension. And after that, the 2 diameters of the face that you have is submento-vertical, and you have submento-bregmatic, and here there will be our incomplete extension and complete extension, and the presentation will be face presentation. And the transverse diameter, the biparietal, most important, and the longest transverse diameter, super subparietal, the bitemporal, and the bimastoid diameter. I think this is enough about the fetal skull that I have talked about. In my next class, I'll be talking about the female pelvis, and then when you study both of them together, you will come to know about the how the process of labor occurs. So I think that is all about today's class. I hope you understood something, and I'll see you in my next class with the female pelvis. Bye till then.